Hello class, this is a lesson where we will learn to factor quadratic expression. This is one of 3 videos because there are 3 methods to do it. In this video we'll learn about the sum products rule, or the rule or method. So this is the first method we'll learn. So let's take a look at a quadratic. We will be looking at only monic quadratics. By that I mean, here is a general quadratic. A general quadratic looks like the following: ax squared plus bx plus c. That is a quadratic expression, and this quadratic expression is the result of the expansion of 2 groups. By that I mean, it can come from x plus alpha, x plus beta, where a and b can be any 2 numbers, and this, when you expand it, you get x squared, x times x times b, you get beta x plus alpha x plus alpha beta. Now, since hang on, let me just factorize this one more time. See how we have a common factor of x here? I'm going to factor that out. So it's going to be x squared plus x outside alpha plus beta plus alpha beta. Now take a look. Since this expression will come from this expression, this will factorize into this, and we know that by expanding this expression we get b, so this should be the same as alpha plus beta, because look, x squared, we will only be looking at when it's equal to 1, so in this one a will be 1, b is the sum of a plus b, or alpha plus beta, and c is the product or the multiplication of alpha and beta. So I just want you to remember that. Take a look. We're going to use b here. I'll do it in red actually. B here is the result of 2 numbers that add beta, and c is the result of 2 of the same numbers that multiply to give c. So c is equal to alpha times beta, alpha beta. So I'm going to keep this at the top of the page just so that we can see it all the time. Here's the first example I'll give this. Okay, take for example example 1. We have x squared plus 3x plus 2. So we'll use this idea to factor this. So we know that this expression will factorize into x in a bracket, and you need a number here, we need a number there, and another x and another number. So ask yourself, what 2 numbers add to 3 and multiply to 2? Well, the factors of 2 are 1 and 2. 1 and 2 also add to give 3. So by that I mean, so we'll take this number here. It's a little side note here. 2 is equal to 2 times 1. But if we take this pair, 2 plus 1 equals 3. Okay, so this works, because look, 1 times 2 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. And they're both positive. So our numbers are going to be 1 and 2. I'll give another example of that. Example 2. For this example, we'll have x squared plus, we'll make it 7x plus 12. Okay, so we know that this is going to factorize into x like this and x like this. So we need two numbers. So I'm going to draw a little thing on the side here. So 12. 12 is equal to 1 times 12. You could also equal 2 times 6 or 3 times 4. So I just listed the factors of 12. Now I'm going to see if any of them add to 7. Here we go. So 1 plus 12 is 13, so it's not that one. 2 plus 6 is equal to 8, so it's not that one. 3 and 4, 3 plus 4 is equal to 7, so it is this one here. So it's going to be 3 and 4 as positive numbers. Plus 3 plus 4. Okay, we'll do another example. Example 3. We'll have it as x squared plus, we'll make this one 12x plus 35. Once again, we know it's going to factorize into something like this, x and x. And just off to the side now, I'm just going to start listing the factors of 35. So 35, we have 1 and 35. 2 doesn't work. 3, 5 does. 5, oops, times 7 gives me 35. So now let's just start testing. 1 and 35. 1 plus 35, does that equal 12? Nope, that's 36, so we don't want that. 5 plus 7, does that equal 12? Yes, it does. So our numbers here are going to be 5 and 7. Plus 5 plus 7. So now what happens if we start taking into negative numbers? Here we go, we got example 4. Let's say we have x squared minus 2x minus 35. So now I want you guys to think very carefully now. So hang on. X. Take a look at this number here. Negative 35. Since we're only picking two numbers, because it's A alpha times beta, see? C is equal alpha times beta. So this negative 35 must be multiplied only from two numbers. So since it's a negative number, one of these have to be negative, because a positive and a negative will give me a negative. Okay, so it's similar to this one here. So let's see if we can get any factors that multiply to negative 35 but add to negative 2. So we'll get 35. Once again, we can get 1 times 35, but this one has to be negative. Let's test this one actually. 1 plus negative 35. Well, 1 minus 35 is negative 34, so that doesn't work. What happens if we have negative 1 times positive 35? So it would be negative 1 plus 35. Well, that's just positive 34, so that's not the one we want. So let's try now. 5 times negative 7, because 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. So let's test that one. 5 plus negative 7. 5 plus minus 7 is 5 take away 7. That is 5 take away 7 is negative 2, which is what we want over here. So this is the one that we want. So we want a 5 and a negative 7. So it's going to be positive 5 and negative 7. Let's give one more a go. Example 5. Let's take x squared minus, we'll go with minus 10x plus 24. Now this is a little tricky because look, we have a minus and a positive. So if we have one that's minus and one that's positive, both of these have to be a negative factor. By that I mean, see how these are, one's positive and one's negative? In this example, both of them are going to be negative. Okay, so let's test out factors of 24. So positive 24. It can be negative 1 times negative 24. Let's test this out. Negative 1 plus minus 24. Well, that's negative 25, so that doesn't work. We don't want that. 24 can be negative 2 times negative 12. 2 times 12 is 24, so negative 2 times negative 12 is negative 24. So let's test this out. Negative 2 plus minus 12. Well, that gives us negative 14. Negative 2 minus 12 is negative 14, so that doesn't work. And all we're doing right now is testing all the factors of this one. So let's try the 3 and 8. Negative 3 times negative 8. So negative 3 plus minus 8, which will give us, that's negative 11. That doesn't work. Let's try negative 4 times negative 6. 6 and 4 make 24. Okay, so this works. Now let's go negative 4 plus minus 6. Negative 4 minus 6. Well, that's negative 10. That one works. So now we definitely know that this will factor into x minus 4, x minus 6. So that concludes the examples that I have for factoring using the sum and product method.